Hi, I'm Scott Willison, owner of the Confluence Fly Shop in Bellingham, Washington. It's late November here, almost into December. Our salmon seasons have slowed way down. There's still a few coho around, some late chum, but we're starting to shift our focus to bull trout in some of our local rivers. And this time of year, with the passing of all of our salmon, we have a lot of rotting carcasses hanging around on the bank and in the log jams. And so in addition to loose drifting eggs, our bull trout are also feeding heavily on salmon flesh. So we're going to tie a flesh fly today. A few years ago I did a spinal trap referenced fly called the pink torpedo, a pink salmon fly, and I've always dreamt of doing its counterpart, the flesh tuxedo. So that is what we are going to tie today. I am starting off with a size 6 Gamakatsu L11S 3H hook in the vise. I've already debarbed it. I'm going to use a white 140 Denier Ultra thread, and I'm using the new all-purpose ergo bobbin from Loon. This is a really comfortable bobbin to tie with. And with the bright yellow color, makes it very hard to misplace as well. So I've just started my thread on the hook, and then the rear portion of the body, this is going to be an articulated fly. Rear portion of the body is going to be a combination of two materials. We're going to start with our Crosscut rabbit strips in flesh color. It's kind of a dull off-white that looks a lot like salmon flesh, and then we're going to brighten it up just a hair with some shell pink polar chenille. And before I tie in the rabbit, notice how that hide is kind of squared off there. I'm going to trim that at an angle, which will make it less bulky to tie in. And then we'll tie in a little bit of our polar chenille here. And then we'll tie in the rabbit by that little point. Then we'll take the thread up to the eye of the hook. And now we're just going to wrap these together. I'm going to kind of train out some of the fibers on that. Try to keep this rabbit from spinning. I want all those fibers facing back. Now we're on track. We're going to wrap this right up to the eye of the hook. Give it a good stretch to kind of extend that leather, and then we'll take a couple of wraps to lock that down. I'm going to advance my thread in front of the rabbit and then trim that really close. And then we'll go ahead and whip finish here. And if you want, at this point, you could apply a little bit of head cement. I've got some bone dry UV Solarez I'm going to put on there. I like this because I don't have to wait for it to dry to set up my next portion of the fly. And then we'll cure that. And I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but that UV light also kind of shows some of those shell pink highlights in there. It just gives another dimension to that flesh and kind of stands out in the water. Now that that's done, we'll take that out, And for the front portion of the fly, I'm going to be tying on a 32 millimeter OPST Steelhead shank. Now I could also opt to put in just a longer shanked hook and clip that off when I'm done, but the work's already done for me here, so I'm going to use the OPST shank. And to accommodate that, I've put in the OPST shank chuck tool, which make things easy. And then we'll get that locked into place there. Go ahead and start our thread. And then for my connector, I am going to use just a short little section of Senyo's Intruder wire in the silver color. And we're going to tie that down along the top of the shank. And we're going to add, I've got here a little 8 millimeter mottled Tangerine trout bead. That will slide on there. And then we're going to slide on our rear hook, and then we're going to feed this back through the bead. And then I'm trying to pinch this to the top of the shank. I know my thread's going to want to spin it when I tie in that other piece of intruder wire, but I'm really trying to keep that right along the top of the shank there. And I think we're good. And then I'm going to fold this leftover wire back, but I'm going to pre-trim it. And then we'll just wrap back over it. And then for the front of this fly, we're going to use the exact same stuff we used to build that rear hook there. We're going to take some more of our fluorescent shell pink polar chenille, tie that in, and then we'll prep our crosscut the same way, trimming it to a point. And then we'll take that thread up to the eye of the hook. Take a couple wraps over this, 2-3 wraps. Move our thread in front, and then we can trim that as close as we can get it. Just going to build up a little head on that thing. Get our whip finish in there. Can also tie the same style of fly using lots of the flesh tone hairline crosscut rabbit in different colors. It's a fun one to play around with and mix it up, but this is probably my favorite as far as being very, very close to what a lot of the flesh I see in the water looks like. Just throwing a little bit more of the UV resin on there. And we're done. Very good late season bull trout fly in our North Puget Sound rivers. I like to fish this one either on a tight line swing or kind of dead drifted on a light sink tip. In areas where you've got a lot of woody debris and places where you might see salmon carcasses collecting. So this is the flesh tuxedo from the Confluence Fly Shop. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.